When my parents split up when I was 6 years old and I used to go to school, they changed schools, and the new school I went to, I got the shit beaten out of me every day at school. So, growing up, I was like always trying to be this macho guy, this tough guy, because I didn't want to be in that position again. But we're all a product of our past, and I think our vulnerabilities are what make us human. Maybe I had to go through that process to finish up where I am today. I was desperate growing up, desperate for this sort of macho acknowledgement, and that's actually what led me into hunting. I was trying to evoke some form of primal respect from my peers, and so I took aim at the vulnerable. Would I change anything going back? No, because I come from 180 degrees from where I am now, and it gives me a strong voice to speak to who I used to be. Look, 3 years in Iraq would give you a different lens through which to see the world, and that this barrier of, this macho barrier I had around me, that got destroyed in Iraq. When you see people's culture and country obliterated, and know that you're a part of that, for whatever reason, fighting the arguments of old men. And when you leave that, you have time to reflect. And that reflection is, I suppose that's where you grow. I never hunted again after Iraq. I knew what it was like to be hunted. Doing good stuff is infectious. When you start, I just fell into it. I got involved. I didn't go to Africa looking for a cause. I went looking for a fight, and it was seeing the hard work that rangers are doing that really appealed to me. These are people that are leaving their families behind for up to 11 months of the year on a small salary, and they're fighting for the heart and lungs of the planet. I just come from fighting for resources in the ground and dotted lines on a map. Rangers inspired me in a world where I think it's hard to be genuinely inspired. And alongside that was animals. Just seeing animals that are being hunted for no particular reason, really. So someone can sit a tusk on their desk on the other side of the world. It affected me in a way that I hadn't been affected before. When we first got involved, it was like, the elephants and rhinos are being targeted, and I've got the skills to go out and stop those animals from being killed. Unfortunate that the world needs guys like me with the skills I have to protect the natural world, but this is what we've created for ourselves to manage. And it's evolved now. We have an army, a growing army of women that are developing their own communities, and in the process protecting millions of acres of land. And in those areas is everything, for the birds, the bees, the flowers, the trees, everything. And this rich tapestry of biodiversity upon which our future as a civilization is dependent on our willingness to preserve.